This is not going to be an easy podcast. My name is Paul Teo. Many of you may have known me as the leading real estate leader agent in another leading agency, but many of you do not know about the history of who I am and how was it like growing up. And some of you who have known me for more than 10 over years, my friends and possibly some of my followers, how it all began was in 20 2000, 2009, 2008, where I founded this company for men called Powers of Attraction, where we help men regain confidence in their dating life. And here I am right now, coming back with a clearer and more powerful movement called the POA. What we talk about is powers of alignment. And in today's first video, I would like to share more about my past. How was it like then? What happened and what is it like now? And with all full honesty and openness, I hope this video can be a hope to struggling men out there who can relate to the possible growing up struggles and sometimes the internal conflict that we have when it comes to new milestones in our life. And growing up ever since young, I'm looking at my script here in case I go out of context. And how was it like growing up? It was just like, I would say that was a little bit different, the childhood that I have. During my kindergarten days, I wanted to be seen. And I was attracted to this lady and I wanted to get her approval and attention. Somehow, there's always this bigger size, bigger guy who hold her hand and walk across the classroom. And that emotion struck something in me that why wasn't I good enough to be the one holding this girl's hand? And growing up in the 80s, where my parents and family, possibly yours as well, we do not often communicate how's things at home, how's your day, what are you feeling about? Because everybody was very busy trying to make ends meet. And not to mention that parents didn't have the luxury of coming home early to check on the children, and they worked until very late. So I didn't have a chance to express whether this feeling of infatuation, jealousy, maybe even envy, whether were they healthy or not. And it stayed with me that I misunderstood at a young age of 5 and 6. I already had this liking for attention and to be liked, and especially girls. So I misunderstood and changed this emotion as I wasn't good enough. And it does me help to be removed from one of the preschool that I had to change to another one because of some disciplinary action. And I felt that I was just being a child, like I wanted to express myself freely and get attention from the class, but somehow didn't turn out well. So back to the school where it was at Hague Road. I was doing my kindergarten then. I was excited to go to primary school where there are still girls there. But my focus wasn't really about them so much. Although I did write a note to this lady, this girl, when I was much as primary one or even primary two, that I wanted to so-called be her boyfriend. And wow, that was a bold move. And none of my family members knew about that. But somehow a part of me felt that, wow, I was brave enough and courageous enough to take that action, to approach and express my feelings. I guess the feelings of being suppressed and unable to express was so strong, carried forward from the kindergarten days until my primary school days. And I felt good. However, I was kind of, in a way, rejected because I was too young. And the mom of the girl knew about it, and the mom said, "Ah, no, you all are still young. Don't write this kind of thing. It's not so nice." And I was angry and furious that I felt rejected. And I wrote something back to her. I said, "I hate you," or something like that. "You're a monster." And she was very sad. She was very upset. And so did the mom. Felt that, "Hey, boy, you shouldn't write this kind of thing. It is not nice." And I just looked at them and I ran away. And there was no place to hide my shame because I have no idea what I was doing. I knew I was expressing my emotions, but somehow I felt misunderstood and I felt disgusted for my action. And I couldn't control that impulse. And I sat with these emotions and I realized one thing. If I was bigger, stronger, smarter, possibly people would like me more. And that was carried from my kindergarten days where the little girl didn't want to hold my hand or the teacher didn't assign me to her because probably I was too skinny, I was not smart and intelligent, being a dropout from another kindergarten. And I tell myself, no, I got to have this determination to become the bigger, the stronger, the smarter. And hence, in my primary two, primary three, primary four onwards, I did very well in my class and I topped the class. And I fell, I almost fell in love. I kind of liked another lady who was also doing well in class. And I have this tendency to compete with her that if I'm better than her, she would like me. And if she likes me, who else would not like me, right? And I pursued in a uniform group and I got all my badges and I rose among in the ranks then. And I took part in sports where I was always number one, number two in my 100 meters short part or even long jump. And guess what? I've arrived. And in my primary four, primary five days, I tell myself, hey, I am one of the top student in class and I did well in my sports and I am a recognized uniform group leader. I'm perfect, right? I should be perfect and people must like me. But having said that, I was lacking in my own social skills. And mind you, this video is not about developing social skills, which I will cover in the later part when the POA powers of attraction superego was created to be a guard, to guard my heart for me to coexist in the society. And that'll be a second video that I'll be doing about. But how it came about was I was lacking in social awareness, social skills, and probably even social intelligence that I didn't have much friends and I chased after friends to like me, but somehow I felt rejected because I remember one of them told me that, hey, hey, Ping Yong, they call me the old name Ping Yong. Hey, Ping Yong, don't think you are smart and clever or fast. I need to be your friend. You are such a snob along that line. And I wasn't. I have no idea I was being a snob because probably the the accomplishment that I got, I was trying to prove a point that I should be likable. I studied hard. I did well in my sports. I am a uniform group leader. You should like me. I should be accepted. But somehow things didn't materialize. My friends, we were not closely knitted as well. There was this competition that me and my friends that I always look at the back of my heart that I need to be better than them for them to like me. And if I'm not better than them, I don't feel worthy of their friendship. And hence, there's always this competitive energy that I have with the people around me. And guess what? It wasn't it wasn't genuine, and I didn't know it. I wasn't honest enough to say about it that I wanted to be accepted. And somehow, the friendship didn't carry on too much into my secondary school days, which then I fell in love with at the age of 14 with another lady who was smarter and stronger as in she was excelling in her sports. And she had this very authentic expression of herself. She was well liked by others, and I wanted to be like her. And of course, moving forward, the entire secondary school was dramatic. I flunked in almost all of my qualification in my education is because I asked myself if during my primary school days I was doing so well and I still didn't get the like, why bother, right? And things turned out differently because I was chasing for what I wanted then to be liked by others, and hence my education dropped, my qualification and interest in studying dropped. But I was still very well in sports because I felt the kind of popularity when I ran fast, I got the trophies, and people kind of like the forced attention of liking me grew. I gathered a few couple of friends which we didn't really agree with school. We played truant and we did all sorts of things that the a secondary school student would be. That didn't turn out well with the discipline of the school. However, the friendship turned out very well. We were very closely knitted. Uh, but somehow I was still feeling inadequate because with guy friends, I still feel there's this missing element of why am I not liked by more ladies? In fact, there were a couple of ladies who kind of like me in a way, probably for my frankness. I was very loud. I was very loud and I wanted to try something different from my primary school days. I became very loud, very bold, very daring. The heck care, the heck care guy who didn't want to do well in his school and play all sorts of truants and funny business just to get attention. And I was liking the attention, but somehow the hollowness inside was still not enough. I had good friends who brothered with me. I have ladies who wrote me letters and told me how much they like me. Really, really. But the one that I liked didn't like, and I was just focusing on the lack and the gap. It was so persistent. And I was so convinced that if I didn't get the girl that I like, everything else just doesn't fall in place. Everything else I'm not grateful for and I'm not interested, although they were just around me. And I came to realize this because it was only then when I eventually got together with that lady for a short period of 2 months, I didn't treat myself well. I didn't treat her well. I was still living in the delusion. How can the relationship be better? So you see this common pattern that whatever I have, or I think the illusion that I have, I want more. And I stop paying gratitude to whatever it is there, whether if I have it or don't have it. And it's a very tiring pursuit of more and more and more. And eventually the lady broke up with me and I went into a minor depression. And mind you, all these episodes that were going on, I didn't have a chance to talk to my parents about it. I had opportunities to talk to some of my close brothers and some of the ladies, which we call them god sisters. They were very close to me. And but it was a lot of emotions of self-pity. I neglected school. I disrespected discipline. I got in and caught with the authorities as well. And it was terrifying. Then my parents came about and gave me a bit of attention, but that wasn't enough. So fast forward to how POA was created was a couple of another decade later that the desperation of wanting to be liked once and for all, if only there is a teacher, a strategy, a blue pill, which one, blue or red? Maybe a red pill that you take, you can immediately feel enlightened about the secret of being liked. And I found that. And I found that secret through a moment of darkness where I was in university in Australia and all my friends they were getting attached and I was the one left drunk in sorrow pity. Where have all my friends gone and where have all the girls gone and how am I just going to walk back to my house alone? And that feeling, especially amplified with alcohol, was not a good feeling. It was a dark, sinister feeling that I went online and instead of relieving myself online, I went online and search for the secret, how to make people like me. How can I double my dating? And I found that book by David D'Angelo, Double Your Dating, where it changed my entire perspective on how to treat people differently, especially women. And that was a huge revelation where I completely became a totally different person. I disregarded my own feelings and emotion. I created this super ego over a period of 2.5 years and crafted it to perfection. And hence the powers of attraction was born. And eventually we had a powerful movement of a community of brotherhood coming together for those who wants to break through, double their dating, and become attractive to anyone, anytime, anywhere. And that was the movement that we had. It exploded in Singapore then. And this was one of the credit that I give to Neil Strauss himself, who authored the game and the rules of the game together with his friend Mystery. And I redesigned together with a partner the Mystery method and made it and tailored it to our own. And we call it the powers of attraction that comes with 9 powers of attractive traits for any man to embody, practice, and become the man of desire to any woman, anytime, anywhere, as I repeat. So that became so powerful. But of course, there's always a price to pay for building such a huge super ego, whereas the journey of losing oneself restarted with the powers of alignment. And that's where the third part of the story goes, and how the powers of alignment was born to help men today who have all the wealth, all the women, all the power that you ever dream of, yet there is still something empty on the inside. And it is especially a closing chapter for all the men out there who have been practicing PUA or POA on the life that they want to create. But somehow that gap in our soul is still missing. And our solution is the powers of alignment. Stay tuned for the second video where I'll be sharing with you how the powers of attraction came about and it was born, and how you too can understand and identify for yourself what are the powers of attractive traits that you embody in yourself right now that you thought you didn't have them. You need to practice them to show them. But in fact, there's no more need to show or to pretend or to practice. Stay tuned for the next video. My name is Portio, and I celebrate the life of men who can live authentically with themselves. See you.